And we're recording.
Yeah, C-suite.
Yes.
Solid. Happy hour breakfast.
Yeah.
Doesn't get better than that.
You have access to a clicker.
Yes.
Oh, right there.
Nice.
Is that USF?
Mm-hmm.
Was you recording with that camera? Okay.
It started working magically. And it's already recording, so. Well, we'll find out. Oh, thank you.
You want to be in that side?
It doesn't matter.
You want to be on that side and speak on this side?
Sarah, why did you say like?
I mean, I guess it doesn't
why did
matter
you
because
react
it
that
has to
way?
come back to me eventually.
Is there a preference as to what side the speaker should stand on versus?
No.
We want you to own the floor instead of on the floor.
So we should be able to.
Just face back and
I
forth.
prefer 4:30 from the central screen.
Just ignore him.
Feels like
Jesus.
The audience ready?
Not ready. So many struggles. Super not ready. Are you timing?
looks like you are.
I'm terrible at this.
Okay,
You want one of us to do it?
when you're ready. Yes.
Yes, give a warning.
You got
Give her a warning, I'm irresponsible. Always got his own phone. 5 minute and 1 minute, okay, Jonathan?
Alright. Whenever you're ready.
Alright. Good afternoon, I'm Christina Dupre. I'm here with Jesse Moon, Randy Perez, and Gabe Gomez, and we are here to present on PDQ. So we're going to start with our agenda, and we're going to go into the industry landscape, followed by our recommendation, then how we're going to implement our recommendation, our conclusion, and then follow that up with Q&A. So we're going to start with the current company. PDQ, as you know, is in the fast casual restaurant business and has 55 current locations within the United States, and this is in 8 states. So what PDQ has done so far is it launched in 2011 and in 2015 hit its first profit. And as you can see in this graph, profits have gone up year over year. So this is 2013 to 2015. And this is not necessarily because of increased sales within locations, but it's because of the expansion and new locations that have been added. So looking at PDQ, what they want to do is expand as was discussed in our prompt. So PDQ is currently a regional chain started in Tampa and wants to move national. So the goal for PDQ is to open 45 new stores in 2017, but the main goal is to hit 100 by 2018. And the first new market that they're moving into is the Midwest. So that's going to include Oklahoma, Chicago, and they're opening 4+ stores in those areas. And one of the issues that we've seen with this expansion is with the supply chain. So because PDQ focuses on fresh and not frozen ingredients, when you move into a new market, you have to focus on new distributors and the supply chain, which we will get into later. So the fast casual landscape, on the left side right here, you can see chicken. So Chick-fil-A is our biggest competitor nationally, followed by Zaxby's. But there's not only national competitors, you have to also look into the regional markets. So a couple of our competitors in regional areas, in the south, Raising Cane's and Bojangles is another chicken competitor. But we're not only focused on chicken, so you have to look at our other fast casual competitors. Those being Shake Shack, Chipotle, Panera, and many others in this industry, but these were the 3 that were the largest for us. So what we want to do as a recommendation is to first launch a digital app, and that's not only for our chicken competition, but in general, a digital app will increase our capabilities, and that project will have an NPV of $182 million. Our second suggestion is a new marketing campaign, and that's going to focus on food with ethics. And the NPV for that project is $186 million. So these 2 projects together will actually lead us to an improved financial state. And Jesse's going to launch us into, So PDQ and Shake Shack are our 2 competitors that we're looking at mostly for our financials. So that started because PDQ is a private company, so we couldn't find many financials on PDQ. And the closest comparison we could find was Shake Shack. So PDQ is mostly chicken, but has 1 burger option, while Shake Shack is vice versa, all burgers, 1 chicken option. So PDQ hasn't gone public yet, but we think that might be potential, so we wanted to look at Shake Shack. They IPO'd in 2014 and we went public in 2015. So when they started, PDQ currently has 55 stores open and they had 100 for Shake Shack. So when they went public, they had 80 stores at the time. So it's a pretty similar market share. Second, they're both focused on limited menu items. Third, high quality ingredients is a focus for both companies, and they want freshly prepared foods. So Shake Shack seemed to be the most common competitor that we could find, and because they're public, we could use their financials. So what we wanted to do is look further into some other options that we could have and didn't seem viable. First, we looked at menu changes, and we actually found a quote from the CEO of PDQ saying they didn't want to add new menu items. This was because they didn't want to deviate from their core competencies and they want to have their limited menu options, so we didn't go that route. Second, we looked into advertising. We looked into some print campaigns and didn't want to get into the role of an ad agency, and as print is dying, we wanted to focus more on digital mediums. Third, we looked into target markets, but we found another quote from the CEO saying that each market is targeted individually based on whether they can find people to hire in that area and where they're seeing growth. So we didn't want to choose new areas that we didn't know their exact growth strategy in that market. So first, Jesse's going to get into the mobile app.
Thank you, Sam. So in terms of what PDQ can do immediately, we are recommending beginning March 1st, the initial development phase for a mobile app, particularly a mobile app with order ahead capability. Now, in food service industry in general, it is anticipated that $38 billion will be sold on mobile platforms by the year 2020. This translates out to 10.7% for the quick service restaurant sector, in particular in that same time frame. Compounded over 5 years from 2015 to 2020, this gives us approximately a 57% annual growth rate. The reasons for these numbers are because of the benefits that mobile order, especially order ahead capabilities, give a restaurant chain. And that is increased and improved brand reputation in front of the consumer who are frequently on their phone, limited propensity for order mistakes because you're limiting many of the order takers, which then leads to greater ability to customize your orders without mistakes. And studies have shown that consumers who use their mobile app for ordering tend to spend more than people who just spend in the store regular. Now, probably the best example of a mobile app successfully used by a restaurant chain is the very popular Starbucks application. Now, the $1.6 billion that have been spent in food service on smartphone applications so far, a staggering 90% of it has been used through the Starbucks application. And with over 12 million downloads, this makes it one of the most popular applications available for mobile phones today. Now, here we see some features of the Starbucks app. Most importantly, it is integrated with the rewards program. As you spend money on the Starbucks app, you earn stars, and as you earn stars, you earn rewards. You're able to get free food and drink products from Starbucks. There's also the ability to pay by phone in the store, much like you would use a gift card. In fact, there's even the capability if someone gives you a Starbucks gift card, you can add the amount of that gift card to the app and use the app instead of the gift card. Of course, you can order and pay ahead, and then there are special perks for members of the rewards program, like birthday rewards, things like that. More importantly than any of these is the ability for Starbucks to tailor their promotions to the individual consumers. They track your spending habits. They know what you like. They offer promotions specifically for you or things they think you might like to try. So in like manner, the recommendation that we have for a PDQ app would be a very high quality app, much like the Starbucks app, which stays in line with the quality theme of PDQ. Now, our comparison restaurant, Shake Shack, recently released their own application as well, also obviously very much modeled after the Starbucks application. And this application would, of course, give the consumer the ability to pay in stores and load gift cards, similar capabilities to the Starbucks app. It would be integrated into a rewards program, like the Starbucks app, and of course it would have the order ahead capability that so many apps are having. It's very much a growing space in food industry, rapidly growing space in food industry. Now, like Starbucks, an important long-term goal of this application would be, it would be a great source for data mining. Considering that PDQ's marketing strategy varies differently from region to region and even from store to store, as we've learned, this would give them the ability to tailor their marketing efforts and target individual regions, individual stores, perhaps even individual consumers, like you see in apps similar to Starbucks. Now, the financial implication of these mobile app, we wanted to use very, very conservative numbers, but we anticipate about 6% of transactions going through the app in the first year, gradually increasing to 23% over the course of 10 years in 2027. Compared to currently Starbucks, over 25% of their transactions are through their mobile app right now. We also anticipate a 5% customer retention rate as a result of the new rewards program, which is extremely conservative when you consider that Starbucks has a 94% customer retention rate as a result of their mobile app. Now, if all of this leads just one customer per store per day, and if the mobile capability of faster ordering boosts sales by just 2%, it gives us a net present value of $182 million for the life of the project. So on that, I'm going to pass this over to Randy to discuss the second part of our strategy.
Thank you, Jesse. So now I want to focus on how we're going to market PDQ, how you want to market PDQ. So for that, we'll take a look at what sets fast casual restaurants apart and what have been the key reasons for the momentous growth since the turn of the century. There's data out there that fast casual restaurants grew by almost 500% since 1999. That's enormous. So why has this happened? Simple. It's basically just because fast casual restaurants have the ability to serve great tasting food of good quality. They're able to give you a restaurant style experience with takeout speed. And they do this in a visually appealing atmosphere that's coupled with value and with friendly service. Now, we wanted to focus on two things here primarily, and we'll go into detail later. But this is actually ordered here in order of importance as survey of the consumers. Taste ranked number 1. However, we think that taste can be subjective. What makes up taste? We believe that in these categories here, the most objective things would be food quality and the visually appealing category. Where are the ingredients coming from and how presentable is it? And those two would have a large impact on taste. So we want to focus on those. Now, PDQ has been very effective in all of these, and that's evidenced by where it is now, and in the face of heavy competition from competitors. However, we want to focus on what we can do to maintain that competitive advantage and take it to the next level. So first, I want to focus on the visually appealing, because some steps were taken already by PDQ last year on this end. Last year, the website was rebranded. So that included a brand new website interface that allows to be accessed from multiple platforms, iPhones, Androids, from PC. Before that wasn't the case. With the increasing mobile customers that we have, we need to make sure that they can access us from all their devices. This also allows them to interact and download our menus, know what the offerings are, and of course know where the restaurants are and what restaurants are opening up. Now, we believe more importantly, this allows us to convey better our options and what kind of food we want to serve. So it allows us to evoke food imagery in a better way. A fresh take on fast food, we believe, is a great slogan for what we want to do. We want to highlight quality and also maintain that we get this quality fast. Now, that takes us to the other point of the quality. For that, we'll turn to a common name, Chick-fil-A, that we know has been successful in the chicken fast casual / fast food business. Chick-fil-A has catapulted itself into the top of this business by doing two things: service and quality. I mean, many people would agree that their service is very good and the quality is good. However, Bob Basham, the founder of PDQ, when he was founding PDQ, highlighted that. He saw Chick-fil-A's advantage and realized that it could be done better. And it has been done better up to now to get PDQ where it is now. However, what's the next step? How can we get in the spotlight and actually make significant advances against the market? So for that, we want to focus on one thing that Chick-fil-A did in 2014. They did a survey of their customers and they found out that 70% of the customers are concerned about antibiotics in their food. So they embarked in a campaign to have 100% antibiotic-free chickens by 2019. Now, in the first 3 years, from 2015 to now, they've only accomplished 35% of that because they've hit roadblocks with the size of their operations. Their supply chain is enormous, so it's very difficult to source organic antibiotic-free chickens for all those restaurants. However, we think that we can compete here. PDQ, by being smaller, which might not be seen as an advantage, can use that advantage in terms of not only achieving antibiotic-free ingredients in their restaurants, since we have less as of now, but also taking a step further and pioneering organic chicken. So instead of just antibiotic-free, we want to take it a step further and have organic ingredients, which includes non-antibiotics and also it talks about how the chickens are raised, the welfare of the animals, which is a trend that we identified in our customer base right now. By achieving that, it will allow us to not only advertise to our customers, eat more chicken, as our competitors does, but we can say eat better chicken. And it will have a lasting impact on our ability to acquire customers. Now, some of the financials, the costs are actually very straightforward. On average, organic ingredients cost about 20% more than normal ingredients. In our models, we utilize just a 20% markup on all our ingredients, not just chicken. Anything that we serve, vegetables are going to be organic, which means that it's coming from organic farms, where those animals are fed from organic farms. The growth that we assume is 5% per year, given that our market base right now, millennials and younger generations are very concerned about what they eat, where it comes from. We think that's conservative. We use a retention rate of 5%. And with the new offering that we have, the higher quality, we believe we can ask for a premium on that. Now, this, we don't think will be a problem as PDQ's average check size now sits at $7.25, whereas fast casual is above $10. So PDQ is actually very affordable as we see it right now. And to generate buzz around this idea and to let our customers know the quality that we have and we will have once we incorporate these changes, which we think is more than enough to gain market share, we're gonna invest some into a marketing budget to get the word out there. All combined, it's gonna give you just over $180 million. But more importantly, we believe that you'll set the stage for the kind of restaurant and the theme we want to advertise. And it will basically be the vessel that will take us where we want to be in the next 10, 20 years and beyond. Now, Gabriel is going to talk about some key considerations and risks that we might face moving forward.
You ready? So Randy and Jesse just presented the projects that we recommend to your company. But to arrive at those NPVs that you saw in the previous slides, we had to make a series of assumptions. And since your company is not a publicly traded company, we had to look very closely at your competitors. So we had to study their financial statements, their annual reports, and those are companies that are currently in the same position where you are, or companies that have been in the position where you are in the past. So going through these financial statements from Shake Shack and also from Chipotle across time, a series of trends and points became clear to us. We would like to mention those to you. So the first one of these considerations is an operational consideration, is that the huge impact that economies of scale have in this industry. So Shake Shack has an operating margin of 2.9%, which is very low and reflects their limitations in terms of making their business more efficient and also the low power that they have against their suppliers. Chipotle, in the year that they released their first annual report, they had an operating margin of 4.9%. Now, 10 years later and more than 1,000 restaurants later, they have an operating margin of 17%, which is very good for a restaurant chain. So we definitely believe that we should seek growth. We should take advantage of this momentum that PDQ is experiencing and seek sustainable growth. And so there are a few important points, a few important lessons that we can learn from this Chipotle case, which is basically we need to take advantage of those benefits of expanding the supply chain, expanding the logistics, taking the advantage related to those economies of scale, but at the same time, we cannot have the same problems that Chipotle had in the past year. So our marketing strategy focuses on making the customers perceive our product as something healthier, as something that is associated with health benefits. So in that case, we cannot hurt that image. So we cannot have those same problems. And one could argue that the problems that Chipotle had are associated with this unsustainable growth. They basically grew too fast, and then their supply chain started having some problems, and also their employee training fell behind. The second consideration that you have is that in our models, we assume that PDQ will have 400 stores in 10 years. So this is actually pretty conservative if we think of what your competitors grow, and also in terms of what you expect to grow. You say that you expect to have 100 stores by 2018. But again, this is aligned with what we mentioned before of having a sustainable growth. And for that growth to happen, we'll have significant cash outflow. So to have those 400 stores opened, we'll need a cash flow that adds up to a present value of $620 million. So this is a significant cash outflow, and it's somewhat beyond the scope of our strategy recommendation, but we must, it is part of our obligation to mention that you have to consider how you finance these cash outflows. So you can always consider debt, which tends to be cheaper, and you might also consider equity, which in this case you could consider either a private equity financing, which is what you're currently doing, or you could also consider an IPO. So Christina will give you now some final remarks.
So one thing we found interesting in doing our research was this company right here, Alliance Consumer Growth, and it's actually a private equity investment firm. And what they focus on is high growth consumer companies. So we found that very interesting considering they own a minority stake in Shake Shack. So they were a part of the investment team and helped them with their IPO. And they actually backed PDQ in 2014. So this company focuses on helping high growth companies grow even faster and then sell them off. So we thought that was very interesting for a future potential IPO. But since our focus was on the short term, we wanted to conclude on what our original recommendations were. First, we suggested our mobile app, which will increase our digital capabilities, increase our throughput, and just increase the customer experience overall. Second was our marketing campaign, which is going to focus on a digital effort and food with ethics, and as Randy said, go organic with our chicken and all of our products. And that will leave us finally with an improved financial state and help us to have a platform for future market growth, and it helps to catapult us into the future into new markets. So now I'll open it up for any questions.
Okay, so the NPV, Jesse, you talked about was, I believe, one customer per site per day, getting us to 190 million. Can you walk me through that?
182 million.
Okay, well, it's 182 million. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
And Randy will walk you through it. He
Okay.
he actually
You
puts
can
it.
take that up there if you want to.
Can I move? Oh, backwards though, I don't have to use my head on it.
Yeah, yeah.
10, 15 minutes?
15.
Yes, so the question was, Jason, remind me please, it was
You said you're gonna add one customer per store per day, and that's
Yes.
going to get me to 182 million
yes,
NPV.
yes,
That plus a faster throughput.
yes. So we have a number of
Get me through that.
we have a number of benefits that we are expecting from having the app,
Okay.
and they're listed here. So I'll walk you through it. So first we have costs. How much it'll cost to develop the app, and we've outlined that here. So one of the under the cost, all these
Yeah, I
items
got it.
here.
App costs are cheap. Okay.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
not hung up on that. I'm more hung up on the volume.
So right down here, the customer acquisition that we're talking about is right here, right there. And what we assume is this is going to come from
Just go with it.
this is going to come from so being able to advertise a restaurant better to people that have the app. And we're more focused here on being able to do location-based advertising. So this is something that's gained popularity in recent years. And we study other cases that have had similar results. The ability to know where your customers are and where they're nearby you, send notification that says, hey, we noticed you're in the neighborhood.
I got that, but what
You
you told me
combine.
earlier is that that's gonna give you one customer per store per day, and that
Yes.
translates to 182 million.
Yes,
How
so
does that math work?
that coupled with also increased throughput. So that all by itself is not responsible for that NPV. That NPV comes from acquiring at least one customer per day per store. Is coming to spend $7.25, the basic spend on the store. On top of that, we are assuming that having ordering in the app is going to allow you to move lines faster, especially during rush hour when you have people ordering on the phone or talking to a person where there might be mistakes. Here, before you get to the store, you put the order in, it's exact, you confirm it's right, and you get it. So it moves the line faster. So that's a 2% increase in throughput. And then there's also
The increase in what we imagine will be spent on the app too, because customers who spend on the app tend to spend more. And,
that's right.
So go
It's
back
yes,
to that slide that, if you can, Jesse was walking through.
back to the
And one in the main
Slide
deck.
coming.
The Wayne and, yeah.
I had a question too about the first set of percentages where you talked about it going from 6% to 23%.
So we'll go back to this one
Yeah,
right here. Yeah. So that's.
This is the one that Jesse walked through.
Yes,
Yes, so the question was, each question was about this right here, correct?
that's the one.
Yeah, so that is one of the benefits we're expecting to get to here. We'll also have cost savings. We're assuming we will need to have, so the more orders that are online, the less you need a person there to take orders. So there were cost savings associated with it, there were benefits in throughput, and there were the benefits of the increased spend of having this customer. So all this added to the NPV of 186.
Well, how much total volume are you, like additional sales are you expecting to get from this? Because
Yeah,
I'm
that's my
still
question.
hung up on how one person per day, so are you saying your volume's gonna be way higher than that? If so, how many more people do you expect to get in the store?
So
Ordering, how
the
many
exact
volume
benefit,
sales?
yes, I get the question now. The
What's the
exact,
incremental increase from doing
yes,
this?
the exact answer to that question is right here. Here, location-based deals. So this line right here. So in 2018, so we're gonna release the app in 2018. We're assuming we're developing it the rest of the year, and that goes into the cost. 2018, we're going to have. So this number right here. So 206,000 of more spend from having one customer spending the base check of 725 in each one of our stores each day for the year. So one per day per store.
Okay, $206,000.
Yes.
Yep, okay.
So that's the first number, and then we're growing that at 5%.
Okay.
Year over year over year over year.
Yeah, so by 2027, that's at 310,000.
Exactly. But then what I was saying before is that this is added to savings in not needing a person as much in the window, the more that orders are online, which is what Starbucks saw. And then also having
Where's
more
your
retention.
big kicker though? Where's your big incremental gain off of this? I mean, if I'm
I
only
would
picking
say, yeah, so it's definitely the retention coupled with the acquisition. So these two have the biggest impact
And
compared to the rest.
Did you account at all for potential cannibalization in terms of overlap of customers
Yeah.
who otherwise would go into the store and are now moving to the app?
So those, I
That
see,
was my
I
question.
see
You-
your
You
question.
have that
is-
6 to 23% are now gonna be moving through the app. So my question is just, is that 20%, are those these new incremental customers or are those?
They're
Our
new,
customers.
new customers. So that's why we took an extra conservative approach because Starbucks sees today 20% of the transactions going through the mobile app. So we assume that by rolling this out and coupling it with the marketing campaign in the bus, we're gonna have an additional.
Okay, so
You
you're
do
saying
6%.
these are
So in
additional
10
versus a
years,
shift?
that 23% is all brand new business just from the app.
No, I think
No.
look, if I'm looking at this the right way, show me where your 182 is on this in your model.
The total.
Where's your 182
It's
number?
down here. It will be down here. Okay, so we have the MPV over here.
Okay,
This
does
MPV
that include the store growth? Because I look, you
No.
know, your number of store growth up there is 55 to whatever, 400.
Yeah, this is all based on the base model that we built that we're assuming this growth.
Okay,
will
so
have
the
over
big
time.
chunk of the 182 million NPV is from store growth that's coming in, right?
It's built on top of that
It's on top of that.
because we expect, with our
Yeah.
growth, we expect our company to be worth about 1.2 billion. And then the way we calculated our NPV was to add that to our base model. So we add our assumptions in terms of growth, in terms of customer retention, new customers that are coming to the store. And we did our NPV based on the difference between what we got after using our approach, our recommendation, and what we had on our base model. And again, we had to use that base model because we didn't have any data on your company.
I didn't guess I understand. I have a different question.
Yeah, should
Yeah,
go ahead.
Actually, what's your,
you said you had one.
I'm moving in a different direction, so if
Okay.
you have another app question.
No. Okay. So you said you want to be completely organic and that won't disrupt the supply chain. Who's on a national basis completely organic right now?
Nobody.
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 That's the difference.
Okay.
And that's what we believe is the big advantage for our company because they're small and they will be able to develop the supply chain. And the other advantage is that they sell chicken, mostly chicken. And chicken is an animal, poultry is an animal that they have a short life cycle, so the suppliers can adapt to that pretty quickly.
So are they gonna have to invest a lot in the supply chain? Do you have any
Not really.
costs with that?
Not as much, more so
Yeah.
that the supply chain will be able to more quickly meet the demands of a chicken restaurant than say any other type of restaurant. Research we found was that many consulting firms believed there was going to be an explosion in fast casual chicken restaurants because chickens were easier to grow, easier to obtain, easier to produce organically, and so on and so forth.
So when you guys say we're small at 55 stores. Are we still small at 400?
We're not that small anymore, but that will happen over a period of 10 years. And we're assuming that with that time, we'll be able to adjust our supply chain. Again, taking into account that the life cycle of poultry is short and producers, they can adapt to that demand. So we feel pretty comfortable with that because just to give you an example, in 2009, there were 9 million broilers in the United States. 2 years after that, there were 28 million. So they can adapt that very fast. So assuming that we will grow at that rate of about 20, 25 restaurants per year, we believe that it would not be a problem for the supply chain.
So on a related note then, do you see this as more of a marketing campaign or more of a supply chain operational shift? Because to me, I think about Chipotle and a lot of the issues they've had with their sustainability and the types of products that they bring in, and it's caused a lot of issues. So, how do you see all of that fitting together? What do you think are the risks? And is this more marketing or is this more a shift in their operational model?
This is more marketing, but everything is cross-functional in this type of environment. There's going to be implications in the supply chain. Of course, so Chipotle grew much faster than we're talking about. They have over 1,000 stores right now, right? And then of course their supply chain couldn't keep up with them, especially when they were trying to be local, and then the next thing you have contamination problems. We're talking about growing at a much slower rate. You look at Shake Shack, which, as we discovered, there's a link between Shake Shack and PDQ. They have the same investors. And as we're looking at the financials of PDQ, before we even discovered that they had the same investors, we're looking at the financials going, it sure looks like they're about to go public, like they're trying to get money to go public. And then we find out they had the same investors right before they go public. If you look at Shake Shack, they've been public for 2 years now, and they only have 100 stores. They're growing at a much slower rate in order to keep their reputation, keep their quality, and keep their supply chain issues in check. Another example would be BurgerFi, much bigger, but they keep their organic and high quality ingredients in check because they've grown at a much slower rate.
To pull that thread a little bit further, then what are the actual marketing strategies that you would recommend? You talked about the website, that's something they're already doing, right? What are the other, we're thinking social media and thinking about PDQ's kind of structure now, where they do local marketing, how would that work with this new strategy?
Are you talking about immediately? Because the case prompt was starting March 1st. Are you talking about long term?
Both.
Okay.
We would expect to do a marketing similar to what Chipotle is doing, that is basically using social media. I believe that has been very successful, especially taking into account the fact that they're targeting millennials. Millennials tend to use social media much more often. So that was one of our assumptions. We didn't come up with a full marketing strategy because we thought that would be more up to the marketing department, or if they are planning to hire an advertising campaign. Going back to your last question, another problem that Chipotle has is that they serve different types of meat. So they serve a lot of pork too, and pork has a much longer life cycle, and that is much harder for them to adapt to therefore their supply chain to adapt to that. It's very hard to raise organic pork.
Right, and then going off of that, we had also seen they do a lot of charitable partnerships, so we were going to stay in that focus, not do any kind of print campaign, just the digital, aiming at millennials, and then going towards a charity to get them brand recognition in new markets as well.
Mm-hmm. One thing to consider from somewhat short to long term, we don't have any evidence on this because we couldn't find it, but anecdotally what we discovered was a lot of people don't know who PDQ are, even locally. We asked some local marketing experts and they said, P, aren't they barbecue? And so a lot of the marketing strategy is just building the brand and building recognition from the beginning, which I think with new investors is probably a given that that's where they're going to go, the direction they're going to go.
And on your marketing slide, you had a proposed 1% of your budget going towards a marketing campaign. What was that number based off of?
So Chipotle currently uses about 5 million, which is much less than 1% of their revenues. We consider 1% of our revenues, which over time would increase. So initially, our budget would be around $2 million, and that would increase over time as our SPDQ gets bigger.
Okay, and like you mentioned, that would mostly go towards digital and.
Right, and like the platforms and graphic designers and the back end, more so than any print media.
You mentioned millennials as your market segment, that's pretty broad. Have you considered drilling down and segmenting that further beyond just millennials?
We talked about that, but the uniqueness of PDQ is their marketing changes a little bit from store to store and region to region.
Yes.
And so, the local PDQ here says, we don't even want to target college students, which is kind of funny because you're in a college town with 50,000 college students, right? So, we mentioned millennials mostly because it's a growing segment and they're increasingly using more mobile applications, digital, they're less prone to print media advertisement. So the type of marketing that we're recommending lends more towards that. That doesn't mean Generation Xers or other generations are precluded. There's certainly peripheral markets we would target, but in targeting the millennials, we're targeting the future.
That's right. And as a broad market, millennials are the highest spenders. So we have data that shows that they eat on average 4 meals out a week. And
You have that data?
Yeah, you can pull up
the appendix.
millennial segment. Click on the logo.
So we did some research and found that on average, millennials eat out more than any other demographic, averaging 4 meals per week in restaurants. They're the fastest growing demographic, expected to spend $200 billion annually. So we don't want to ignore this segment. And as Jesse mentioned, PDQ up to now has been successful with multiple markets. And personally, we've been to the local restaurant here, and we see people from any age, from children to grandfathers. But however, we do believe that we cannot ignore the millennials, because they're so large.
And you're right on your statement that millennials are a pretty broad category. And if you think that millennials, they are.
Hard stop.
And we started a little late, so.
Restroom break real quick?
All right.
Water, everything?
You
We'll come back.
just chicken tenders, right?
Offering it to everyone as well.
I'm
going to do it. What you doing this
I said that it was couched as an opportunity. Would everybody like a break? It was a guarantee what happened if you didn't mean
Jason
one.
needs to go.